Let me introduce first myself. I'm a teacher of foreign language faculty, translation studies and language education department. Now I'm going to introduce you non-verbal communication from discourse analysis subject. So what is non-verbal communication? Non-verbal communication, is it possible to communicate without words? Of course, no. Non-verbal communication shows that over half of our message is carried through non-verbal elements. They are your appearance, your body language, your tone, and the pitch of your voice, of course. Non-verbal communication, before someone possesses our verbal message, they should also take into consideration our appearance, registered enthusiasm and sincerity, noted our tone of voice, and possess it all into non-verbal message. If this message reinforces the content of verbal communication, it means that we send our powerful message. If the two messages do not match, they may cancel each other, and that means no message delivered. So the process of sending and receiving wordless messages by means of facial expressions, for example, gaze, gestures, postures, and tones of voice, they are called nonverbal communication. And nonverbal cues include all expressive signs, signals, and cues which are used to send and receive messages. Language is not only a source of communication, there are other also means too. Message can also be delivered through communication. The first one, of course, gestures. It includes movement of hands, face, or other parts of the body. And the next one, posture or body language, facial expression, eye contact, emblems, haptics, appearance, and object, of course. So here you can see some facial expressions used body language. They are also the pictures. Meaning can also be communicated through objects. They are clothing, hairstyle, architecture, symbols, dance, icons, handwriting style, arrangement of words, and of course physical layout of a page. Vocalization. So the vocalization refers to non-verbal sounds. They are not words, of course, but convey meaning. For example, they are divided into three categories: vocal characterizers, vocal qualifiers, and vocal segregates. Vocal characterizers, they are divided into this kind of parts: laughing, sighing, crying, belching, inhaling, excessive groaning, whining, yelling, and whispering. Vocal qualifiers, they are intensity, pitch height, or high-low. Vocal segregates, they are separates like ah. Some sounds are not vocal. For example, snapping one's fingers, stamping foot, and they include vocal and non-vocal phenomena, of course. Some non-vocal phenomena made with breath, taking a small bit of air, or onomatopoeic words like z, or also non-vocal phenomena, more sounds than words, for example, zap or buzz. Body motion, they are kinetic gestures, movements of the body, lips, head, feet and legs, facial expressions, eye behavior, and posture. So some movements provide information about emotions, some give information about personality traits or attitude. Emblems, for example, thumbs up, it means okay, or wheel with fingers, victory, or finger pointed to temple, suicide, or hand grasping throat, choke, or hand to mouth, eating, tilt head, eyes closed, sleeping, for example. And use of emblems, aversion, insult, or directions like come, stop, go, slow down, and greetings or departures. And use of emblems, B version, selected responses to questions, for example, yes, maybe, no, I don't know, or physical state, and emotion, for example, angry or sad. And parts of body associated with emblems, like mostly often hands are associated with the emblems, not excessively. And for example, nose wrinkling, it refers to disgust or drop of the jaw or exaggerated raising of the eyebrows, refer to surprise. or upturned palms, shrugged shoulders, like that, refers to uncertainty, of course. Regulators, they can tell the speaker to continue, hurry up, become more interesting, explain, let the other talk. And turn-taking regulators mostly refer to head tilting, nods, eye contact, and in this case, less eye contact if you want to terminate conversation, of course. And touch behavior refers to touching, stroking, pushing, or guiding another's motion. Paralanguage, how, not what you say. For example, they include speech behavior, voice quality and pitch, range and rhythm control, tempo, articulation, resonance, glottis control, vocal and lip control. We express ourselves through posture, of course, gait, walk, sitting, or position of body, gestures, movement of hands and legs, fingers, emotion of hand, head, or body to emphasize an idea, emotion while speaking, and facial expressions like using our eyebrows, eyes, lips, or chin. Sensory channels. It's also important to remember that while communicating, we not only use different frames of mind, but also use very sensory channels like verbal contents, words, auditory content, voice tone, visual content, gestures, facial expressions, and sometimes sense of touch and smell too. The non-verbal communication or the silent language refer to our actions, silence, expressions in the eyes, gestures, posture, walk, facial expression, vocal cues, touch, appearance. All these communicate without words. Emotions expressed with facial expressions, they are surprise, fear, disgust, anger, happiness, and sadness. Four basic modes of body language, they are responsive, reflective mode, figurative mode, and combative mode. So two basic group of postures, they are divided into open closet and forward back. Open closet is the most obvious. People with arms folded and legs crossed and bodies turned away are signaling that they are rejecting messages. People showing open hands and fully facing you and both feet planted on the ground are accepting them. Forward back indicates whether people are actively or passively reacting to communication. When they are leaning forward or pointing towards you, they are actively accepting or rejecting the message. When they are leaning back or looking up the ceiling, doodling on a pad, cleaning their glasses, they are either passively absorbing or ignoring it. Here you can see the layout forward back or open closed frame. For example, forward back refer to responsive, reflective posture or combative, figurative, or aggressive board one. Here you can see the layout of this rule. So responsive, here you can see the picture with the responsive one. Engaged. If you pay attention to the body language of the people, they refer to leaning forward, open body, open arms, and open hands. Now, reflecting or evaluating one mostly refer to the body language features of listening, head tilted, loss of eye contact, high blink rate. Figurative, or let me go like that, bored, staring into space, slumped posture, doodling, or foot tapping, they are figurative mode. Combative mode, for example, let me speak, or finger tapping, foot tapping, staring, they are combative mode of body language. Now here you can see the picture, leaning back with hands or supporting head. It shows or it refers to rejecting messages. Now, for example, sit-down readiness shows or refers to be ready, positive, to be able, or to be goal-oriented person. Head to chest, it refers to honestly, loyalty, and devotion, of course. Oh, well, I don't know, this kind of mode or body language refers to a doubt or hesitation. Touching the nose, this kind of body language refers to curiosity, of course. Oh, I'm bored. This kind of body language or facial expression refer to boredom or tired. or low stippling joining fingertips. They are the elements of being confident, proud, or egoistic. Hand wrapping, this kind of body language refers to expectation or unspoken demand. Chin stroking, evaluation, they are just elements of evaluating and judging body language. Gesture with glasses like that, negative emotional reaction, and scrutinizing people, of course. Open hands, they show both sincerity and helplessness. Getting a leg up, it means being non-cooperative, hostile, or unconcerned people. Arm gripping, this kind of body language referred to be defensive, sometimes seeking comfort. Crossed arm, this kind of body language, they are mostly preferred by teenage girls. Crossed arm defensive. Now here you can see the negative body language effects. They are elements or result of the defensive, being generally among colleagues or peers, or in others, it is for the right to be heard. Physical characteristics, not all non-verbal communication, comes through movement or motion. Some are static self-presentation, characteristics of body height, weight, hair, skin color, and breath outer. Artifacts, when objects interact with persons to send with cues. For example, they are clothes, lipstick, false eyelashes, wigs, and perfume. Environmental factors associated with the communication event that impinge on the human relationship, but not part of it. They are furniture, architectural style, interior decorating, lighting conditions, colors, and temperature. First impression. So we know the importance of first impression, but first impressions happen every time when we initiate the communication. Positive impression make communications much easier and more comfortable. Negative first impressions can cut off a relationship before it gets started. First impression includes dress, grooming, voice, handshake, eye contact, body posture. Language of gestures. Body language and non-verbal communication are transmitted through the eyes, face, hands, arms, legs, and posture, like sitting and walking. And each individual or isolated gesture is like a word in each sentence. It's difficult and isolated, dangerous to interpret in and of itself. Therefore, we should consider the gesture in the light of everything else that's going on around us. Eyes are windows of the soul, excellent indicators of feelings. Honest person has a tendency to look you straight in the eye when speaking. At least listeners accept it like that. People avoid eye contact with other person when an uncomfortable question asked. Try to reduce tension and build trust rather than increase tension. The raising of one eyebrow shows disbelief and two shows surprise. People are classified as right lookers and left lookers. Right lookers are more influenced by logic and precision. Left lookers are found to be more emotional, subjective, and suggestible. The face is one of the most reliable indicators of a person's attitudes, emotions, and feelings. By analyzing facial expressions, interpersonal attitudes can be discerned and feedback obtained. Some people try to hide their true emotions. Common facial or gestures are frowns, just they show unhappiness or anger. Smiles, of course, they show happiness. Sneers, like dislike and disgust, they refer. Clenched jaws, tension or anger. And pouting lips, they refer to sadness. Hands, tightly clenched hands usually indicate that the person is experiencing undue pressure. It may be difficult to relate to this person because of his tension and disagreement. Superiority and authority are usually indicated when you are standing and joining your hands behind your back. Cupping one or both hands over the mouth, especially when talking, may well indicate that the person is trying to hide something. And putting your hand to your cheek or stroking your chin generally portrays thinking, interest, or concentration. Fingers bent across the chin or below the mouth most often shows critical evaluation. Rubbing gently behind or beside the ear with the index finger or rubbing the eye usually means the other person is uncertain about what you are saying. And leaning back with both hands supporting the head usually indicates the feeling of confidence or superiority. The arms and legs. Crossed arms tend to signal defensiveness. They seemingly act as a protective guard against an anticipated attack or a fixed position which the other person would rather not know. Conversely, arms open and extended towards you generally indicate openness and acceptance. Crossed legs tend to seem disagreement. People who tightly cross their legs seem to be saying that they disagree with what you are saying or doing. If the people have tightly crossed legs and tightly crossed arms, their inner attitude is usually one of the extreme negativity toward what's going on around them. It may be difficult to get agreement. Posture, sitting or working. Just sitting with your legs crossed and an elevated foot moving in a slight circular motion indicates boredom or impatience. Interest and involvement are usually projected by sitting on the edge of the chair and leaning slightly forward. Generally, people who walk fast and swing their arms freely tend to know what they want and to go after that. People who walk with their shoulders hunched and hands in their pockets tend to be secretive and critical. They don't seem to like much of what's going on around them. Dejected people usually scuffle along with their hands in pockets, hands down and shoulders hunched over. People who are preoccupied or thinking usually walk with their heads down, hands clasped behind their backs, and pace very slowly. Certain combinations of gestures are especially reliable indicators of a person's true feelings. These combinations are clusters. Each gesture is dependent to others. Also, analysis of person's body language is based on a series of signals to ensure that the body language clearly and accurately understood. All the individual gestures fit together to project a common, unified message. When they do not, this means an incongruity. For example, a nervous laugh. A laugh generally signals of relaxation, but if there are nervous signals in body language, that means the person is trying to escape from an unpleasant situation. Several gestures indicate openness and sincerity. They are, as we said above, open hands, unbuttoned coat or collar, leaning slightly forward in the chair, removing coat or jacket, uncrossing arms and legs, moving closer. When people are proud of what they have done, they usually show their hands quite openly. When they are not, they put their hands into their pockets or hide back. When people show signals of openness, that means they are generally beginning very comfortable in your response, which is good. People who are defensive usually have a rigid body, arms or legs tightly crossed, eyes glancing sideways or darting occasionally, minimal eye contact, lips pursed, fists clenched and downcast head, and common gesture classes. The nervousness, whistling, jingling pocket change, fidgeting, twitching lips or face clearing one throat, chain smoking, covering the mouth with hand or tapping fingers. Evaluation gestures say that the other person is being thoughtful or is considering what you are saying. Sometimes in a friendly way, sometimes typical evaluation gestures include tilted head, hand to cheek, leaning forward, and chin stroking. Sometimes evaluation gestures take on a critical aspect. For example, the body is more drawn back. This is generally an unfavorable gesture. Or final negative evaluation gesture is dropping his eyeglasses to the lower bridge of the nose and peering over them. This gesture usually causes a negative emotional overreaction in the people. Now it was our lesson. our lesson of body language, and we can just finish there. Uh, Readiness, gesture cluster readiness is related to the goal and rated high achiever is a concern for getting them, and this may negatively give the appearance of being overly anxious also. So this was our lesson about body language. I think that I suppose that our lesson will be of great importance in acquiring discourse analysis subject.